Welcome to the Firewall Analyzer Training Part 2, Season 2. Before we start, I would like to know if you can hear me and see the presentation. Please confirm the same in the chat panel. A brief introduction about myself. I am Mauli Srinivasan, product expert in Firewall Analyzer, and I have more than 6 years experience in product marketing. So let us look at what we are going to cover today. First, we are going to look at how to fetch syslogs from the firewall into Firewall Analyzer. Once the syslogs are fetched, the Firewall Analyzer starts to generate various reports. We are going to look at what those reports are and how the same can be used in real time. Post this, we are going to look at security analytics and traffic analytics in detail. Finally, we are going to cover how to set alarm notifications for various triggers. In short, first we need to install Firewall Analyzer, fetch syslogs from the firewall. Once the syslogs are fetched, Firewall Analyzer starts to generate reports. Then alarms can be set for various triggers. So before we install Firewall Analyzer, first you need to configure your device to send syslogs via the UDP port 1514. In case the port 1514 is not free, an alternate for free port needs to be selected. Once Firewall Analyzer is installed, Firewall Analyzer must be directed to receive syslogs from this new port. Given here is a sample screenshot of how to configure in Cisco ASA device. Listed here is the basic installation requirement. This was covered even in our previous training session. Firewall Analyzer can be installed on a Windows or a Linux system. All the syslogs received by Firewall Analyzer by default is stored in the PostgreSDB. If needed, you can also configure the syslogs to be stored in the MS SQL server. The disk space and RAM size mentioned here are the minimum requirement. The same might vary depending on the number of devices being analyzed and the number of devices sending log information to Firewall Analyzer. With the basic requirements fulfilled, you can install Firewall Analyzer. You can download Firewall Analyzer for Windows or Linux, 64-bit or 34-bit according to requirement. If you're a global enterprise, download the distributed edition. Execute the binary file and post-installation access the web client through the web browser. Login using default username and password, which is admin. So as I mentioned before, Firewall Analyzer by default listens to syslogs forwarded to port 1514. Apart from this, port number 80 is the Firewall Analyzer's web server port. Port number 13306 is the port for the DB. By default, Firewall Analyzer stores syslogs in Postgres. There are two ways to export syslogs to Firewall Analyzer. As mentioned before, the first way is to configure the firewall device to forward syslogs in the port 1514. The second way is to import log files. So this is shown in detail in the next slide. So in order to import logs, you can import the logs from a local host or a remote host. Let me show you how this is done in the product UI. So this is the Firewall Analyzer product UI. Click on Settings and under Systems, click on Imported Log Files. Once you click on Imported Log Files, click on Import Log. And as I showed you before, you can either import logs from a local host. You can, if you want to fetch logs from a virtual firewall, you can select the option 2, or you can also fetch logs from a remote host by entering the required credentials. Once you do this, the logs are fetched. So let us now look at the mechanism of a firewall analyzer. Firewall analyzer can analyze syslogs from more than 50 vendors. A few major vendors have been listed here. Not only this, apart from firewalls, Firewall Analyzer can also analyze syslogs from multiple network security devices like IDS, IPS, VPN, and proxy servers. So once the syslogs are forwarded, the syslogs are archived, and any alarm notification that are sent are sent in real time. Parallelly, syslogs are normalized, stored in DB, and then Firewall Analyzer starts to generate reports. Let us look at what reports are generated in the next slide. Firewall Analyzer provides a wide range of reports. First is the dashboard and inventory report. These reports give a high-level overview on all the firewall stats. Next, the firewall reports are a combination of firewall security and traffic analytics. The proxy server report are reports generated by analyzing the split proxy servers. And if you're not happy with the existing reports and you want to customize the log reports, the same can be done using the custom reports. Finally, you can perform forensic log analysis using the search reports. So let us look at the dashboard and inventory report. So the dashboard is an aggregated report which provides the following: the firewall overview report, which is nothing but a high-level overview of firewall traffic statistics, security statistics, and system performance. Next is live traffic. You get the live traffic data through individual firewalls. And the VPN report, which provides active VPN user list and VPN usage details. You also get an overview of all the rules that are triggered in the firewall, users, and cloud services accessed by the user. Inventory report, on the other hand, is an individual device-based report which gives a status on each firewall device configured in Firewall Analyzer, all the interfaces connected to configured firewall devices, users who have generated traffic via the configured firewall device, cloud services which have been used via the firewall device, and rules triggered in the firewall. Let us look at how this report looks in the product UI. So in the product UI, click on dashboard. And on dashboard, as I mentioned before, you have the overview reports. So the overview reports can be split into firewall summary and system performance. So the firewall summary is a highlight overview of all the traffic and security statistics of firewalls that are configured to receive syslogs in Firewall Analyzer. And then the system performance is the overview which provides an overview of CPU utilization, memory utilization, disk space, logs per second, connection count, and thread count. You also get an overview of live traffic of all the firewall devices configured. You also get a list of cloud services used. You get a list of users, all the users that are generating traffic via all the firewall devices, and you also get statistics on VPN connections and rule management and security reports. From the inventory, you get a status on all the individual firewall devices configured in Firewall Analyzer. So under devices, you can click and check on a specific firewall and explore and get more detailed information about that specific firewall. And you also get the interfaces under these firewall devices. You get the users who have generated traffic via the configured firewall devices, and cloud services which are being used via the firewall devices, and finally the rules that have been triggered via the firewall device. So now let us look at a use case for these reports, that is the overview reports. So those who attended the previous webinar would know who Jim is. For people who have freshly joined this session, Jim is a new security admin who has joined a company, and his company has certain network security issues. As a security admin, Jim has been given various tasks to solve these issues. So let's get down to what the first tasks allocated to Jim. So in Jim's company, a lot of attacks have taken place using a single firewall. So he has been asked to investigate everything about the attacks from that single firewall. So now let us look at how Jim identifies this using Firewall Analyzer. So as I mentioned before, click on inventory because you need to figure out about a specific firewall device. On attacks on a specific firewall device, click on inventory and click on the device. And say let's take a single firewall. For example, let's take a Palo Alto firewall device, and you get the basic traffic statistics. And then on expanding, you get a detailed summary, a bandwidth report, a top 10 report, sites accessed, apps, rules, and finally we get to the security statistics. So from this we get to know that there are a number of attacks which have taken via this firewall device, and this has been recorded in the firewall log, and you get the attack type, the status, and the number of hits. You also get a list of all the top viruses with statuses. Currently there are no virus attacks via this firewall device, and you get top denied destinations, top denied host, and denied user logons, and top spam generated. So on clicking on this, you also get a detailed report, a drill down report as to exactly which is the host, which is the destination that is responsible for this attack. From this, Jim can go back to his firewall, make the necessary quarantine, and then remediate accordingly. So next is the firewall reports, which consist of traffic analytics and security analytics. First, we'll be looking at traffic analytics. So under traffic analytics, you get detailed traffic usage reports on different protocols, applications, cloud services, VPN, internet, and intranet. Apart from this, you also get a trend report. You get trend reports on VPN, protocol, events, and traffic. Let us look at how these reports look in the product UI. So in reports, click on firewall reports, and under firewall reports, as I mentioned before, you have a split between traffic analytics and security analytics. So traffic analytics, you have multiple reports. First is a traffic report, protocol usage report, web usage report, mail usage report, FTP usage report, and telnet usage report, stream and chat reports. So these reports give you the basic traffic details, and you also get trend reports, which gives you trend analysis for the traffic that is generated. Okay, so now let us look at a use case. So in Jim's company, there is unusual bandwidth shortage on a particular day, and the productivity is affected because of this. Jim has been asked to identify the user who's using the maximum bandwidth. Let us look at how Jim identifies this using firewall analyzers, firewall reports. So since we are supposed to identify traffic, under firewall reports, click on traffic reports. And in traffic report, you get to know which is the host which has utilized the maximum traffic and what protocol has been used to utilize the maximum traffic. And finally, as we scroll down, you also get to know which are the top users who have sent maximum data, received maximum data, and finally, we get to pinpoint exactly which user is utilizing a lot of bandwidth. If you look at this, both Shamla and Revati are using up to nearly 70% of the bandwidth. So upon drilling down, if you click and drill down, you get to know whether these are whether Shamla and Revati are using the traffic bandwidth for business or non-business purposes. In case you identify it as non-business purposes, Jim can go back to the firewall, make the necessary changes, and make sure the bandwidth is optimized. So, as I told you, firewall reports second part is the security analytics. So, Firewall Analyzer provides a detailed security reports on the following: attack reports and virus reports, top security events and denied events, top spams generated, failed logon details, and top denied URLs and their categories. Let us look at how this report looks in the product UI. So again, the firewall reports are split into traffic and security reports, and security reports can be found from here. So you get list of security details and reports, you get virus reports, get attack reports, and also spam reports. So next, let us look at a use case for security reports. So in Jim's company, there have been a lot of attacks happening, and they want to know which protocol is specifically being used by the hacker to attack the network. Let us look at how Jim identifies this using Firewall Analyzer. So since we need to identify the attacks, click on attack reports. In attack reports, you get a detailed list of top attackers, top targets, and protocols used by attacks. So if you look at it, ERP poisoning is the type of attack that is used, and the protocol that is used is EPMAP. And the next protocol, which has the maximum number of hits, is HTTPS. So you can click and drill down to exactly pinpoint which is the host and which is the destination for this attack. So Jim can now go back to his firewall, make sure he quarantines the host or the destination, and remediate immediately. Next, Firewall Analyzer is also capable of analyzing the syslogs from Squid proxy servers, and you get the following reports. I'll show it to you in the product UI. So under reports, click on proxy reports, and under proxy reports, you get a detailed URL report, the URLs that are being accessed using proxy servers, the websites that are accessed using the proxy servers, the top talkers, And finally, the proxy usage report. Now, again, let us look at a use case for proxy report. So Jim has been assigned a task to find if there have been any proxy virus attacks in the system. And if so, they want to find the source of these attacks. Let us look at how Jim identifies this using Firewall Analyzer. So click on website details, and in website details, if you scroll down, you get a specific report called proxy virus report. So in this report, you get to know which are the hosts that are infected by the proxy virus and what is the type of virus and what is the hit count. And you can also drill down to get in-depth analysis as to what is the host, the destination, the status, the protocol that is used, and exact time at which this attack has happened. You can also drill down on the raw log. So if predefined reports don't fit your needs, then custom reports will help you to satisfy your requirements. So as a next task, Jim has been asked to identify which users have logged in via VPN. So this direct report is not available. So let us look at how Jim can set custom reports using Firewall Analyzer for this specific use case. So custom reports, under reports, click on custom reports. So first, create a custom report, click on add, set the name of the report. So in custom reports, you have first, you can set filters. So filters, there are two types of filters. One is the include filter and another is the exclude filter. Say you don't want to generate reports for the top management, that is, you don't want to generate or monitor logs or generate reports of logs for CEOs, CFOs, and COOs. You can use the exclude filter to exclude specific users or specific hosts and remove them from the event, remove them from the report. In case you want to create a report for only a specific set of hosts or destinations or users, you do it by using the include filter. Right now, we are just going to analyze all the we are just going to get a report of all the people who have logged in using VPN. So we are not going to set any include or exclude filter. Now, next is next is you have to create the report. So let us set a name for the report, VPN test. So this report is based on VPN. So you can either create, since this is a customizable report, so you can either keep it as a graph and a table, or you can say just make it a graph or just a table. Here, I think it will be better if you just generate a graph. And you can also set the type of graph. You can set either a vertical bar chart, a stacked vertical bar chart, horizontal bar chart, pie chart, or time series. I feel that for this vertical bar chart would fit the best. And select the x-axis, select the y-axis as sum of total bytes, and the grouping criteria is users and order by sum of total bytes. Once you do that and click OK, this report has been added at the bottom, and click on next. Once you click on next, so you can generate this report on a hourly, daily, weekly, or monthly basis according to your requirement. and you can also download it as a PDF or a CSV for better analysis. Right now we are going to generate this report only once. We're going to set the time period, and we're going to set for, say for example, last 30 days, and hit next. So we can also send mail notifications. So after generating this report, after scheduling these reports, you can directly send it to your mail in case you configured your mail server. But right now we are clicking on disable and we are hitting save. This profile name already exists, so we're going to continue. We're going to hit at save. Once we hit save, this custom report has been created, and if you look at the report, so you get a list of all the users that have logged in using VPN. So you can also further change the time period and get a list of all the people who have logged into the VPN in the last 30 days, or you can also set a custom time period. So with the custom reports, you get to choose, you get to filter, include or exclude filter people out. You also get to choose what kind of graph you want, and you also get to choose the x-axis and the y-axis and the grouping criteria. So next is the search reports. This is one of my favorite reports. The search reports help you perform forensic analysis for a certain period of time using the log. There are two types of search. First is the aggregated search. Aggregated search provides information based on a specific criteria over a period of time, hence the name aggregated. Raw search, on the other hand, provides forensic log analysis from multiple activities. So now let us look at the use case for aggregated search. So Jim has been asked to identify the amount of bandwidth consumed by a single user called Tom. So let us look at how Jim identifies this using Firewall Analyzer. So search report, click on search, and since we are going to use aggregated search, click on aggregated search. Select the firewall device. Right now we have selected all the firewall devices, and we can set, so we need to get the detailed information about the user, that is Tom. So user is Tom. Once you hit generate, you get the detailed list of all the activities done by Tom. You get the amount of bandwidth he has consumed on a particular day. So now let us look at a use case for raw search. There have been a lot of attacks on Jim's network, and hence Jim has been asked to identify all the virus attacks in the system. Let us look at how Jim identifies this using Firewall Analyzer's raw search. So next, under search, click on raw search, and again I have selected all the firewall devices that are available. And you can either select raw firewall logs, raw proxy logs, or unknown protocol. Right now, because we are identifying all the attacks, we are selecting all the virus attacks, we are selecting raw firewall logs. And in raw firewall logs, because we want only specific virus attack logs, you can select just the raw virus attack logs. And you can set virus isn't null. Once you do this and search, you get a list of all the virus attacks that have happened. You get the name of the virus attack, you get the severity, you get the host, user, protocol, and destination. You get in-depth details of all the virus attacks that have happened. Not only that, you can also identify that single log which was responsible for that virus attack. So hence this is useful for forensic log analysis. We have come to the final section of this webinar, and the final section is going to be about alarm management. Setting alarm notifications is a very useful way to identify security events in real time. Firewall Analyzer has three types of alert profiles. First is the normal alert, second is the anomaly alert, and third is the bandwidth alert. All alarms can be seen in the alarm section of the product UI, and these alerts can be notified directly to your mail or directly to your phone as an SMS, or you can run a script. So before you can set an alarm notification, you need to configure the mail server for sending alerts to your mail, or you need to configure the SMS server for sending alerts to your phone as an SMS. Let us look at where this can be configured in the product UI. So click on settings, and under settings, in basic settings, click on mail server settings. So this is where you can configure your mail server, and click on SMS server settings. You can configure your SMS server either as SMS gateway or via SMTP. Once you give the correct credentials, you can configure your SMS and mail server and send notification directly to your SMS or mail. So when there is a next time when some alarm is triggered, you will get it directly in your mail or your SMS. So you can also run a script. As I mentioned before, you can also run a script. For this, you need to create an executable program file, and when setting the alarm profile, you can upload this script file. For example, we have shown a sample script to block BitTorrent-like processes. Once a BitTorrent type attack is triggered, Firewall Analyzer will execute the script and block BitTorrent-like processes. So as mentioned before, we can set three types of alarm profiles in Firewall Analyzer. First is the normal alert. So it's a real-time alert for a specific activity. Next is the anomaly alert, which is usually used when you want to notify about an event over a period of time. And finally is the bandwidth or a threshold alert. It's an alert when you cross a specific bandwidth threshold. Now, let us look at a use case. Since there are a lot of ARP attacks happening in the network, Jim's company want to identify ARP attacks at the very inception. So what does Jim need to do? So Jim needs to set an alarm notification for 5 ARP attacks that happens within 10 minutes of time. So let us look at how Jim sets this alarm using the Firewall Analyzer. So go to the product UI and click on settings, and under other, click on alarm profiles. And click on add. Since this is a real-time alert, you can use the normal alert. You select all the devices and click next. So you need to select the criteria. Criteria is attack is ARP. ARP poisoning, and then you can set priority as either critical, trouble, or attention. Right now the priority is critical, and you can alert for every 5 events generated within 10 minutes, and you can assign a specific owner to this for this specific alarm, and click on next. Once you click on next, as I mentioned before, you can, if you configured your email server, you can send notifications via email, or if you have, you can also run a script, or you can send SMS directly to your phone. But right now we will get this alarm if and when triggered directly in the alarms UI of Firewall Analyzer. We need to set a profile name. Sorry, I missed that. And hit on save. Once you hit on save, this alarm profile has been created. Test alert has been created, and every time there is 5 ARP attacks which happens within 10 minutes of time, you will get the same notified in the alarm section of your UI. This is the alarm section in the Firewall Analyzer UI. And in case you configured your email or your SMS, these notifications will be directly sent to your email or your SMS. So we have come to the final use case of the day. So it has been noted that a specific user has been clogging a major part of the bandwidth, and hence Jim has been assigned a task to trigger alarm notification if a user named John uses more than 1 GB in an hour. Since this alert is over a period of time, let us look at how an alarm profile can be created using the anomaly alert. Click on alarm profiles under others and hit add. Set profile name as John over usage 1. And since we are planning to use anomaly alert, click on next. And once you click on next, so the anomaly report type, you have a list of anomaly report types. You can select attack reports, virus reports, VPN reports, URL reports, and rule report. But currently we want to identify if John is using more than 1 GB, which comes under traffic report. So also you have various filters, that is, you can specifically say if John is using 1 GB in business hours, say the time at a specific time, or from a specific source, or use a specific protocol, or to a specific destination. And you can also pinpoint, for example, if you want to check if, say, John is using YouTube to download more than 1 GB, you can pinpoint that as an alert too. But right now, we want to just identify whether if John is using more than 1 GB in just 1 hour. So in a period of 1 hour, user is John. In a period of 1 hour, he exceeds 1 GB. So you can again create the priority, either critical, trouble, let's say trouble, and assign an owner for this alert and click on next. Once you click on next, as mentioned before, either if you have configured your SMS server, you can send email notification or as an SMS or run a script. Now click on save. Once you click on save, this anomaly alert has been created. So if John uses more than 1 GB, immediately an alarm will be triggered and the same will be reflected in the alarm UI, or it will trigger an email directly, email or an SMS, or if you have a script, it can also run a script. So to summarize, Firewall Analyzer is a policy and configuration monitoring tool. It helps us identify policy anomalies, unused rules, and it also helps perform in-depth rule impact analysis for a proposed new rule. Thus, it helps in optimizing firewall performance. It also provides out-of-the-box compliance reports for SANS, PCI DSS, NIST, ISO, and NERC. So the first 3 points were covered in our previous training held last week. So in this training, we learned the following, we got trained in the following points. That is, Firewall Analyzer provides a detailed security analytics that helps in identifying threats. An in-depth traffic analytics that helps in user monitoring, search reports, which helps you perform forensic log analysis. And with Firewall Analyzer, you can set real-time alarm notifications to your mail and SMS, and thereby it helps in proactively identifying and preventing security events. Finally, Firewall Analyzer supports all major firewall vendors. So the next Q&A session will be taken by my technical expert, Ashwin.
Hello everyone, my name is Ashwin. I'm the technical consultant for Firewall Analyzer in Manage Engine. So for the next few minutes, I will actually take you through with some frequently asked questions by our users and evaluators. And these questions will be more towards use cases where we'll understand how to achieve some requirements. So the first question that we'll discuss is, I want an alert if any source or destination utilizes more than specified bandwidth. How do I go about doing it? So here the question is pretty much to have a real-time alert if there is a limitation or a threshold of bandwidth utilization has been violated. So to see this, we have something called as alert profile under settings. So we go for settings and go for alarm profile. Here when we create an alarm profile, we have three options: normal and anomaly and the bandwidth. So this is going to be a bandwidth alert that we have to generate. But for the bandwidth alert, there is a prerequisite in Firewall Analyzer that we have to enable the SNMP setting. If the firewall has the SNMP profile enabled, then we have to add the SNMP credential with its community string and the SNMP port, and then this will give me an option to go ahead and analyze the bandwidth utilization per interface of the firewall, and that will actually help me to achieve this requirement. So bandwidth alert is going to help me to fix this issue. The second question is regarding Firewall Analyzer has sent hundreds of emails last night. That's very bad. Even though I want all the alarms to be captured by Firewall Analyzer, it would be good if my mailbox is not getting flooded. Pretty simple for this, that all the alarms should be triggered within the product UI, that is the Firewall Analyzer UI, but we want some selective emails to be sent. So in that situation, whenever we create an alarm, let's say I select the alarm profile as normal, I put it a name as test, then I go for next, and maybe I'm looking for attack alarm. Attack is not null, that means any attack, and let's say one attack in 1 minute. So every single attack that is going to happen, it should send me email. Let's say this is my situation. When I go for next, I have this notification option. In the notification option, I have this email notification enabled. That's why I'm receiving the emails. However, if I do not want a lot of emails to be sent to me, then I can select this option, send the notification once, and do not send it for a period of time. I can mention a custom period, maybe for a couple of hours, do not send it, or maybe for that day, do not send it anymore, just send one email and don't send it for the entire day, or a week or a month. In the custom period, I can select how many hours. If I want to give an interval of every 2 hours, you send me one email and then do not send me, that I can even mention right here. So that is how I can customize my email notification, how many emails I want, how many emails I do not want. So those information I can customize. The third question is, what are the notification options available in Firewall Analyzer? The notification options are right away the email. I can send all my alarms as email notification, or I can execute some script files or some batch files or an executable using run script, and I can also send SMS to my cell phones or my mobile phones using SMS gateway. So these are the three notification options that we have in Firewall Analyzer. Then the fourth question is, live syslog viewer and Wireshark shows that syslogs are coming in, but the device is not getting added. How to fix this? So here we understand that the logs from the firewall are actually coming, but the firewall is not getting added in Firewall Analyzer automatically. Ideally, it should add the firewall automatically in Firewall Analyzer the moment it receives the syslogs, but that's not happening. What to do? In this situation, we have to understand whether the logs are in the supported format or not. So in the product UI, if we go to settings, we have something called as syslog server. In the syslog server, we can see the live packets, and as per the question, the live packets are coming in. And syslog viewer, you have a live syslog viewer. Here also, the user says that he is able to see the live syslogs coming in like this. But when we see these syslogs, the syslogs has some pattern. Every firewall syslogs has its unique pattern. If the pattern mismatches, then Firewall Analyzer will not be able to understand what type of firewall it is, and it will not be able to add them. So to see them, whether the firewall is sending the appropriate pattern or not, we can actually check that right from live syslog viewer, or else when we go to settings, we go to device detail. Here we have supported logs received and unsupported logs received. So if there is a mismatch in the pattern, we'll see that unsupported log right here in this unsupported logs received, and then we have to work in that direction. So ideally, if, for example, if you have a Cisco firewall, Cisco ASA, and that is a pretty much supported firewall in Firewall Analyzer, if in the syslog we do not have the timestamp, then the Firewall Analyzer will not be able to understand what type of log it is. So there are some specific pattern or some parameters that makes Firewall Analyzer sure to go ahead and add the firewall. So we have to analyze those logs. The first thing is we have to understand whether the log is falling under unsupported logs. If yes, just share the same information with our support team. We'll go and assist you how to fix that in your firewall's configuration. But if you can find that in our forums or Pitstop, those kind of things, you can always go ahead and fix that yourself as well. Then the fifth question is it possible to get trend reports in Firewall Analyzer? This is a nice question. So the trend reports, when we say it's a pattern how we utilize the traffic. For example, if I want a traffic trend report or a VPN trend report, then these kind of trend reports are automatically created in Firewall Analyzer. If you go to report section, you have various type of trend reports right here. So all you have to do is search for trend. You'll get various trend reports like protocol trend, how is the protocols are getting utilized, traffic trend, event trend, VPN trend, active VPN trend. So what is this trend report all about? For example, I picked this traffic trend report. So what it shows, from the day you deploy a Firewall Analyzer in your environment, it will analyze each and every hour of the traffic. So if I look at this hourly trend comparison, I can easily identify which hour of the day is the busiest hour of the day, which hour is the highest bandwidth consumption time. I can easily find out from the hourly trend report. If I say the weekly trend report, I can understand which day of the week is highest traffic consumption and which day of the week is lowest traffic consumption. So if I want to have a seminar or any event or an examination conducted in my environment, I do not want to schedule that on the busiest hour because that will be the slowest hour. So similarly, you can have working hour traffic distribution, non-working hour traffic distribution. These are all trend-based report that gives you a pattern of the utilization. You can do that very well in Firewall Analyzer. Then the sixth question is, how can I create custom reports in Firewall Analyzer? When I say custom report, there are two ways you can customize the reports. You have a custom report right under the report section. And here, all you have to do is click on add, provide a name of that report that you want to create. For example, I want to create a customized report where it should just show me a table. I do not want a graph. I just want a table with my own customized columns like source, destination, protocol, byte in, byte out, similar like that. So I can just go ahead and create a name, select on which firewall I want the report to be. If I want to apply some filters, I can add include or exclude filter right here. And then I can click on this plus symbol beside reports to customize my own report. Here, when I select any option, for example, I want URL based report or protocol based report or VPN based report, I can select that. And then I can select graph and table both, or just graph or just table. And based on that, I can select what columns I want in my report. I can customize, I can select those things. And after selecting these options, column headers, I can click on OK. Once I click on OK, this custom report is going to be a part of the predefined reports right here. So right here, the one that I created here. So this custom report can be forwarded to a schedule, and also that can be sent as a PDF or CSV with your own schedule timing. That can be an hourly report, that can be a monthly report, that can be a weekly report. You can schedule accordingly. That is one way of customizing a report. The second way of customizing a report is just a simple search. You go to search, and then maybe you want to aggregated search or raw search based on your requirement. You can select that. If you do a raw search, that's going to be more detailed information. All you have to do is what kind of log you want to search. Maybe I just want to have traffic logs to be searched. I select traffic logs, and then I can select what kind of information. If I want just for one particular source, I can mention source is and then provide the IP address. And if I want for all source, then I can go with source is not null and do a generate. And this result, the search result which is coming, this result can be saved as a custom report. You have a save option. All you have to do is click on save and give it a profile name. And then you can select what all the columns you want in that report. Maybe I just want date and time, device, host, user, protocol. And then if I want to schedule this, I can schedule right here. So there are two ways to customize. One, just by a simple search, I can save that search result and schedule that as a report. Or I can use the custom report option under reports, and there I can customize my own way of graph or own way of table, or both graph and table as well. So these are two options for customizing report. The seventh question is, can VPN user specific start and end time be tracked? Absolutely. Firewall Analyzer has predefined report to give you the VPN user session detail, where it will let you know the start and the end time of a VPN user session. So when a VPN user logs in, we start tracking the time when he logged in, how long he was logged in, that is the duration, and when he logs out, what time he logged out. So this entire duration will be tracked, as well as what all the traffic transaction he did, which destination he went, how much byte consumption he did, how much inbound and outbound traffic consumption he did. Everything will be tracked, and you can generate report. How to get user list for a specific URL access? This is a very nice question, that the user is particular about username instead of IP address. Ideally, when we see the reports, traffic-based report or any report, we see the source IP address, destination IP address, so on, but we do not actually see the username or the exact URL. But this Firewall Analyzer has the capacity to have an integration with Active Directory. If you have the Active Directory, it can integrate with Active Directory, get the usernames from the Active Directory, and show you each and every username and which destination they went. And even you can track down the exact URL. For example, someone went to youtube.com, so it can literally show you the youtube.com / what is the extension of the URL. Those information we can see it in the URL report, but both combined together as user and URL together. To see that, all you have to do is search. When you do a search, in that search option, if you see, you get the source user, the user column will show you the username when you have the Active Directory integrated with Firewall Analyzer. and when you save here, you get an option called URL, this one. So this URL column is going to show you the exact URL. Based on some number of firewalls, let's say 2 firewalls or 5 firewalls or 10 firewalls, if I have 10 firewalls to monitor in Firewall Analyzer, how much hard drive is required? Ideally, to answer this question, it's very, very tough, because nobody knows how many logs per second we are getting or generating from each firewall and how long we want to retain the data. To understand the requirement for hard drive, we have to understand two things: that what is the flow rate, that is number of logs per second, and how long do we want to retain the data. So there is a document in Firewall Analyzer, that is help.fwanalyzer.com. So if you go to help.fwanalyzer.com, you'll get a installation setup option, system requirement. If you go to system requirement, scroll down right here. If you click on this hyperlink, it'll take you to the hard drive requirement. So the hard drive requirement will clearly mention that, let's say I have 300 logs per second, for example, in an average, and if I want to keep the data for 1 month maybe, and I want to keep all type of like raw data as well as the aggregated data together, then it may take up to 450 GB of hard drive. This is an approximate calculation based on a size of each log, but again, this 300 logs per second is taken as average. So this is an approximate calculation that you can take, that based on the log per second, that is the flow rate, and how long I want to keep. Based on that, you can refer this link to have an idea that how much hard drive you should prepare for that particular server. So that's the question answer session, and for more help you can always visit our website, and you can always we have a community portal that you can share your questions or follow our users, and we have a dedicated support team email address. So for your questions, queries, you can always send an email to our support team, that is fwanalyzer-support@managengine.com, or you can call us anytime on phone. And now we have already introduced a live chat support in our product UI. Even if you go to the demo site in the demo.fwanalyzer.com or any of them, at the right bottom corner you'll see the chat option, and there you can initiate a chat and you will get a response within 1 minute, which is very, very lively. So that is one option we have introduced. So that's all from my side, and I'll just hand it over to Molly. He has some news about some things from Firewall Analyzer that we have recently released. So it's over to Molly. Thank you so much from my side.
Hey guys, this is Molly here, and so we have introduced, we have recently launched a ebook on 10 firewall best practices for network security admins. And so if you want to download, you can click on the link to download, or you can go to ebooks.fwanalyzer.com. I will be sharing this presentation with you, so you will get all the product collaterals. And we have also deployed a new feature in Firewall Analyzer called the rule impact analysis. We covered this in detail in the first session that was held last week. So I'll give you a short intro about the rule impact feature. So this lets you perform in-depth analysis for a proposed new rule. So before you make a new rule live, you can use the rule impact feature to determine if the proposed new rule is going to impact the existing rule set negatively. So if you want to know more about this feature, you can read our latest blog, Rule Impact Analysis, a new dawn of firewall policy planning. Again, this will be shared to you via mail. And if you want a detailed demo of this feature, please request for a personalized demo, and our technical experts will get back to you. Thank you for joining us today. I hope this was a useful training session. Please fill the survey and provide your rating for this presentation. Rating is in the scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the highest and 1 being the lowest. For any future training session, we will keep you posted. In case you want a more detailed explanation of the product, you can request for a personalized demo. Thank you.